This is Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Macaulay McGowan. Macaulay, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You've got a big fight coming up with I can't say comebacking anymore because he's had 3 fights since he's been back. Sergio Martinez, former pound for pound great. Not the same Sergio Martinez, I think it's fair to say, but still a tough test out in Spain. January the 27th. Just tell us how that fight came about.
I had no fights coming up. I had nothing. And then all of a sudden, I had this message at night saying, on a Sunday evening, saying Sergio Martinez, ? So I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, do you want to fight him? I was like, damn right I flipping do. So I put it to Joe. Joe didn't get back to us straight away. So my missus was a bit like, she could see I was getting this excited feeling that, you know, the feeling I get when I think, oh, fight's coming up. And she was like, you know, Joe might want a bit of an easier fight, you know, for the first fight together and stuff, you know, trying to like prepare me for Joe saying, no, we'll
managing your expectations, yeah. Oh.
And I was thinking, nah, Joe won this fight. To my understanding, well, not whatever, to my confirmation, whatever you call it, he said, yeah. He was like, let's do it. And it's been all systems go since then.
What do you make of Martinez's comeback? Because he started off against a guy that I'd never heard of. Then there was Koivula, who was a welterweight who'd lost to Conor Benn. Brian Rose, obviously proven commodity, but probably not in his prime anymore either. And now you, who, with all due respect, you've made your name at welter and light middle and not proven to be beyond domestic level yet. Is he taking this comeback seriously, or is he just looking to have a few nice shows back home and enjoy it, promote himself, obviously?
I think he's thought, he's got his own promotion. I just thought, he's probably thinking, I'll have a few good fights because he holds good ranking because of who he is. And he thought maybe get another world title shot, but not take too many risks before the world title shot because his ranking's high anyway. He's probably thinking, I'm not going to take too many risks, and then I'll keep my solid ranking, and then I'll get a title shot at the back of it. He's looked pretty decent, to be fair to him. Obviously not the same guy he was. A lot of his good attributes he don't have anymore, but he's making up in other ways. Like he's a wiry old fox now. He looks solid. So he's got other attributes that I've got to be aware of as well. Still holds power. So he should beat me. Like like I'm being honest, he should beat me, but I don't know. I've been training hard. I've got a really good feeling about this one.
Did you see his fight with Brian? Because I haven't seen it, but from all accounts, it was quite a close fight, and maybe Brian should have got the nod. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I haven't watched it from round 1 to round 10. I've skipped a few rounds here and there. Then I've watched it in bits and bobs. But it looked a close fight. Brian, there's a lot of stuff Brian did well that I'll capitalise on, and there's a lot of stuff that I won't. What I'll have to not do that Brian was doing, which he was getting caught with. But Sergio Martinez looked good. Brian looked good, to be fair. It was a good fight, considering that the fight should have probably took place 5 years ago or 10 years ago, whatever it was. It was actually a good fight, I thought.
No disrespect to Brian, but I think if it had been 10 years ago, it might not have lasted as long as it did, to be fair.
No, of course, yeah. If I boxed him in his prime, I was only 15, so.
Well, yeah, I don't think any commission would have allowed that, even in Spain.
Yeah.
What do you feel you need to do to secure the victory? Because people are going to say, oh, you have to knock him out in Spain, but is it more that you have to be dominant?
Dominant, yeah. Dominant is the word. I don't worry about the judges, the ref, all that rubbish, because you've had it since an amateur. Or if you box in Liverpool, you got to knock him out to get a draw, and you fight. And then there was times where I'd go to Liverpool stressing about that and get beat, and I'd rightfully get beat. Whereas then the other times, I'd go and think, I'm not stressing my life. I'm just going to box my best. I'm going to do what I need to do. And you'd get the win just convincingly anyway. So it's about, like you said, going over there and dominating the rounds that I win. It's just about going there, blocking out everything and doing the job at hand. And I don't worry about the judges. I don't worry about the ref. I don't worry about what any little sneaky tricks they may or may not play. I just go there and I concentrate on the job at hand. And if you're dominant and you win the fight, and that's the end of it. I'm not going to think, oh, I might be dominant in this fight and then I might get robbed. And that's unnecessary worrying for no reason. You just go and fight, do your best, and you deal with the consequences after it if anything dodgy happens. But I don't worry about that now. You've got to win the fight first.
Is there an element as well that, you know, win or lose, and obviously you're confident of winning, you're going to raise your profile. It's a decent payday as well, presumably. I'm not prying, but, you know, there's other elements to it as well. It's not just about beating Sergio Martinez. It's also about what it could do for your career longer term.
It's funny you say that. I'm going to be honest with you. Money's not great. It's probably the reason why I'm getting the fight. Let's be honest. But it's an opportunity to become more than I could ever be. I'm fighting a guy who was a middleweight legend in my era anyway. Me growing up watching him. And I can go there and beat him. And it's a true blinking Rocky story. And it's one I weren't willing to turn down. And you say, oh, you know, even if you lose, I'm not thinking about losing. I've lost my last 2 fights. I do not want to lose another fight, ever. Like, doesn't matter if I'm fighting Golovkin, Martinez, but in whoever, I don't want to lose this fight. So I'm putting all my eggs into this basket. I'm going to win. I'm going to do everything I possibly can to get the win. And yeah, it's nice, you know, fighting Martinez. Like, it's picking up a bit of publicity now due to the fact that there's going to be no boxing in January. So it's like, I'm the only one. I've done it again. I was main event the Kalukmet only through like default, the fact that Lee McGregor got COVID and something else happened, whereas I got main event. It's like something's happening this month where all the boxing been cancelled. It's just pretty much me. Like, oh, so people are just gonna be like, oh yeah, I'll look for that. So all eyes on me, which is quite good. It's quite good.
How do you reflect on that Kalakmet fight now? Because as you said, it wasn't supposed to be the main event. It didn't go your way. A lot of people came out of it though with newfound respect for you. You were very durable. You showed a lot of heart, and it raised your profile.
I look back at him in a cringe, man. Oh, it was terrible that night. But he was better than me. I'm not going to sit and make an excuse. He was just better than me. He got it right. And that was the end of it. I could say this happened, that happened. But at the end of the day, he was just better than me. And the same with the Conway fight, just better than me. You know, you say, oh, short notice, this, that, and the other. But is it the fact that I can say they were just better than me then go, right, well, I need to change it up, come to Joe's, been working away, working on what I need to work on. So reflecting on it, like, I'm you know what, it's mad. I'm glad they happened because I had a tough year that year in, sorry, I'm just on the phone. My workmates are pulling up in a van. So I'm glad it happened because I had a tough year early on in that year, and I got in shape purely because I was struggling just like with what was happening in my life, and I thought I could just turn up and win. And I think if they give me them wins, I would have associated that with struggling in like my life. Whereas, to be honest, boxing doesn't give a shit. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough, and that's the end of it. So it was like, so I'm not glad they happened. Obviously, I would have loved to have won, but there were certain lessons that I took from him, and I just thought you got to be all in or all out. So I've gone all in.
Now, although you're your own harshest critic, quite clearly, a lot of people would say you maybe came back too soon after Kalakmet to fight Conway, who's a quality operator in his own right. It was what, a month in between?
Yeah, my ban was up about 2 days before. I think my ban was up on the day of the weigh-in, you know, because I got a bit of a cut eye in that. I had to get passed by a doctor. But and another element of it, so I've been beat by Kalukmet, and then I get the opportunity then about an AJ undercard fighting Kieran Conway. And I turned and said, no, not happening. And then I couldn't get to sleep that night. I was like, I could be going to work as a labourer Monday, or I could be going to the Hilton Hotel for an AJ undercard. And we were kind of we're still at now, but I mean, it was a time in the pandemic, whereas I've got people, friends, losing jobs. I've got people who can't do their passion in life. And I'm getting the opportunity here on a plate. Go and do. And I thought, if I turn this down, I'm a scumbag. Like, yeah, I've got mates losing jobs. There's people who are dying to play Sunday League football and they can't play Sunday League football. And I'm getting there. Go and fight on an AJ undercard. There you go. It's like, of course I took it. Like, it probably was too soon and probably things weren't in my favour. But like you say, I should have adapted. I should have done better and I should have won. I should have done what I needed to win. And I didn't. I couldn't do it. So Conway was better than me then again. So I've come away from it, bit of soul searching, and teamed up with Joe.
And you've had a long rest since then, at least, kind of made up for it, I suppose, although I'm sure you would have liked to have been busier. How did you link up with Joe? How did that come about?
I was just a bit here, there, and everywhere with work. I got married and stuff, and I weren't really in the gym. But I was keeping myself fit, but I weren't really in a boxing gym. And my boss could see that I was struggling a bit, and he just said, "Look, well,
yeah, you're all right. I'll just come back. That's it. Carry on."
Yeah, yeah. I'm a boss. He helps me out. He sponsors us, and even though I work for him, he gives me leeway with pretty much anything to do with boxing. And he said to me, you know, I can see you struggling, but why don't you look for a gym in the day, like, and do less hours at work? We'll sort you out here and there, and so you're not affecting you financially. And Joe was the first place I could think of. Joe would send me the odd message here and there, and I'd send him the odd message. Nothing about going to his gym or poach him, but before anyone thinks, I mean, who's going to poach me anyway? Have two bosses.
You never know.
You know what I mean? It's like I'm world champion. So then I just said, look, Joe, is it all right if I come down to the gym? Are you taking fighters on? And he was like, come down tomorrow. And then I just stuck at it. And then Joe was like, yeah, we'll do something with you.
And just tell us what's different so far that has made. I know it's early days.
He's just very intense. He's just everything. And when I say that, I don't mean the fact like he's just screaming at you to do more punches. Intense in your technique or where you're going wrong or weaknesses. What he wants you to do, it's intense. Like, even if it's about keeping your hands up, it's intense. It's just an intense environment, but it molds you into a different mindset. And I like, now I'm just under 3 weeks before my fight, and I just want to get in there and just let loose. I feel like a different animal. But yeah, it is amazing there, and yeah, in a time where I needed to be, and I needed. There's a saying in there: when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. It's a bit cringy and all that, but I felt.
Right.
But teaming up with Joe, it's really helped, and it's madness. I wouldn't be going into this fight so confident. I would have took this fight no matter who I was with. Let's be honest, I would have. But my mindset probably would have been different. Like, I'll turn up, yeah, I'm fighting Martinez, this, that, and the other. But seeing how much effort and time and mental building time Joe's taking up, thinking about this fight, wanting me to win, it changed my mindset. Like, I need to win this fight, and I'm going to do everything in my power to do it.
Great stuff. Who have you been sparring in the camp?
I've been sparring a few different southpaws, a few novices, a few experienced southpaws. over Christmas, we've had lads coming from the northeast, we've had lads coming from Wales. So, it's been non-stop. I haven't had a Christmas, I haven't had a New Year. My family have felt the burden of it, but they're all behind me. So, I've got to do the business in 3 weeks' time.
Just tell us, you were saying obviously you work, you're on your break from work right now as we speak. How hard has it been balancing working on the construction sites with training every day for what is a really big fight?
It is quite hard. But you know what, right? I was thinking about this on the way here, and it's not as hard as people think, you know. I'm not going to sit here and sell you a story about, oh, this boxer, he trains. Like, the other day, I trained, got a shower at the gym, come straight to work, and I had to go straight from work to the track, or the marina, we call it, and do running with Joe again. Like, my boxers were still wet, but my socks are still wet from training earlier. It was pissing down all day. But it's not that hard. Like, people
sounds
think
hard.
Like there's this grueling life. And it is hard, don't get me wrong, but it's harder being skint. It's harder throwing your dream and having that as a burden on your family financially. That's harder. I believe that's harder. There's been times when I didn't work as much and stuff, and that felt harder. Whereas now I train, I love it. Like, that's my passion. I don't find training a hard thing. Obviously, I know it is hard, don't get me wrong. But then I come to work and I work with a top bunch of lads for a top boss who's, you know, he's not putting on our case about a load of pressure, like, non-stop. You know, he's not a dickhead. And then I go home to my family again, or I train again. Like, I fucking love my life, to be honest with you. Don't get me wrong, it'd be nice to have fucking loads of sponsors where I didn't, but to be honest, I go home and my daughter's at school anyway. My son goes to school next year, so I'd be bored anyway. I might as well be at work with the lads, fucking burn some extra calories.
With that in mind, obviously you've got 2 kids. You said you got married last year. Congratulations. What would a win over Sergio Martinez do for your family and your status in life, if you like? We know the payday this time is not great, but what would the win do going forward?
You know what? I don't think about the. Obviously, I know if I win, it fucking puts me up there. But you know what? I just want the win for myself. You know, later I could get emotional thinking about it. I just want the win for. Imagine me just beating Sergio Martinez. It's madness. Like, Matthew Macton, Darren Barker. I forgot the fighters. They boxed in. Adrian Stone, I think his name was. And then you got me. Don't get me wrong, I know he's 46, but forever it says that I beat Sergio Martinez at a world-class middleweight. Mate, that means more to me than any amount of money and anything. So it's just about fulfillment and just giving it everything. It's about, for one night, just becoming something more than you could ever be. And that's what I want. And it mean everything to me wife. My kids aren't asked, let's be honest. Kids don't care. The kids, as long as they get home safe, they're not bothered.
When they look back on it when they're a bit older, maybe they'll appreciate it then. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like, we gave my daughter the boxing news yesterday, and she had flicked through that, and then she seen Daddy, and she was buzzing. She's like, "Oh my God!" Like, couldn't believe it. So there's a nice little memory. Yeah, one day they'll appreciate it, hopefully.
Great stuff. Mate, I wish you the very, very best of luck. A few weeks left now, but yeah, really hope you get the job done.
No, I appreciate the time for interviewing us, Danny. Really do.